Hey, what's going on, everyone? Unfortunately, someone who we covered in a fairly recent episode is somehow now back on the internet. Did not expect to have to talk about one of the people I covered in the TikTok episode so soon, but here we are. Somehow, Jupiter the Hybrid returned.
Hey everyone, sorry I've been gone for so long, but yeah, I did and I still do regret my actions. You guys need to back off.
Let's get into it. But before we get into the video, a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by me and my 2 books I have for sale. If you want an intense, action-packed sci-fi fantasy story featuring giant robots, aliens with waterbending powers, and cyborg ninjas, look no further than Renegades Volume 1 Rise. As the world of Terra basks in a newfound peace after a worldwide conflict, an insidious plot to annihilate non-humans is quickly unfolding. Driven by a sadistic maniac named Ivan, his relentless onslaught of human terrorists are on the hunt for a mysterious item known as Project L. In this dark hour, a motley crew of individuals answer the call and rise up to challenge him. With unique and varying abilities, they must survive harrowing battles against Ivan's forces and unravel the secrets surrounding Project L if they hope to save their world from sinking into chaos. Will these renegades be able to vanquish the evil that looms over them? Can they triumph and restore order to Terra? Or will their mission fail and doom the planet forever? If you want something more humorous, you may want to check out Tales of the Edgeworlds Volume 1. It's an off-the-wall sci-fi fantasy action comedy series with no rules or limits. This wild 4-story package takes you on an adventure throughout the disorderly and broken edge of a multiverse that's like nothing you've seen before and delivers unforgettable laughs and thrills along the way. You'll meet mutants, space vampires, interplanetary mafias running giant casinos, and cyborg space pirates. Anything and everything goes in the Edgeworlds. Get ready for a wild ride. Both links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Also be sure to check out my website. It's got more info on both books and the lore surrounding them. Alright, back to the video.
Is there like a certain age that things started to get, a little weird between you two?
I can't say I'm that surprised that he's back, I just didn't expect him to be back so soon. But to give a bit of backstory here, for those who don't know, this guy was caught sending inappropriate messages and Snapchat videos to minors, to people he knew were minors too, so it's not even like he didn't know. I will link my previous video that should be on the screen right about now, and also I'll just link it in the description so you can check that out if you want more context for who this guy is. Now, a few weeks before his return, Linda Benda, the person who did a lot of interviews with him to try and get information out of him, they uploaded a video interviewing one of Jupiter's sisters. I forgot how many he said he has. Unfortunately, some really dark things were revealed during this call. I'll link Linda's channel in the video below for context. The entire thing is over 40 minutes, so I'm only gonna play some clips from it, but I highly recommend watching the whole thing. Fair warning, it gets pretty messed up from here.
So kind of explain your childhood with Corbin and explain if there was a turning point where you noticed changes in his behavior.
I mean, we had a fairly okay childhood. I mean, yes, him and I have some sexual abuse trauma. We have very similar trauma. I have a little bit more than he does. Our brother Junior, or Shane, as most people know him, he wasn't a very good brother, so to speak. But that happened, I think I was 3 and Corbin was 4, and that kind of went on until we were 9 and 10. So, for the most part, we did normal things.
You were the youngest, and then it was Jupiter, and then it was Junior. So when you and Jupiter were growing up, because you were similarly in a similar age range, you mentioned that you were sexually, abused.
Mm-hmm.
Was that by your older brother Junior?
Yes, that was by Junior.
And that's the one that's in jail right now for...
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
That is correct.
Unfortunately, Jupiter wasn't the only predatory member of the family. Obviously, it goes without saying, but that is absolutely horrible, and I'm glad the brother is rotting in prison. And not that it excuses anything Jupiter has said or done. According to the interview, the older brother abused Jupiter as well and even tied him to a chair at one point. From what's just described in this interview, I'm honestly surprised anyone in the house turned out relatively normal at all, because it just sounds like a recipe for just, you know, messing people up mentally for life. Unfortunately, there's even more twisted stuff revealed by the sister.
Siblings do. Corbin's kind of always had anger issues ever since like we were like really tiny. They started getting worse and worse because mom would say things like, he's autistic, he doesn't know what he's doing, but then I'm sure that everyone like can very well tell he does indeed know what he's doing. I would be sitting on the complete opposite side of the room coloring. He'd lose a game and he'd walk over and he'd throw whatever remote he had in his hands at my head. And I would tell my mom, and my mom would call him into her office. She would scold him, and then nothing would happen.
So basically he was coddled his whole life by his mom, and
Oh, yeah.
that made a huge impact on the person who he is today. What you said about his mom's excuse about he's autistic, he doesn't know better. He has used that to this day to defend his actions.
Oh, I know. It's a big reason why I don't talk to my family but once in a blue moon, and it's also a big reason why I kind of left my family.
Yeah.
Because of the coddlement of my brother.
I kind of wanted to get into some of the questions that I have. He's, you know, I've talked with him a bunch online on FaceTime and things like that, and he's mentioned a few things about his family. There were a lot of times where we would start like flirting or talking, you know, kind of sexually a little bit, and the next thing he would bring up is his sisters. And a lot of my viewers found that really weird, that a lot of times when he would start flirting, he would bring up his sisters. Like one time he said, my sister got stuck in the dryer, and one of his sisters says, thanks for not effing me. So just, he brought up weird things with his sisters, and people just thought that that was weird.
Well, I can just clear that up and say that none of that happened. Aside from Junior and what happened with Junior, nothing else sexual happened between us. Other than when he got older and when I got older and started developing more, like reaching our puberty stages, then he would attempt to like rope me or my sisters. It got so bad where I actually had to get my dad involved, because I would tell my mom and she'd be like, he just doesn't know what he's doing. You just gotta repeat. And so I finally ended up telling my dad, and my dad said, well, if he does it, just go ahead and smack him. So I did. Never touched me like that again.
So your mom was pretty much on the Corbin train, and your dad was, you know, rooting for all of his daughters and sons. So it's pretty sad to see that, you know, you were never treated equally by your mother. You know, you said that he started to touch you inappropriately in places that, you know, a brother should not touch you. Was that happening often before you slapped him?
It happened really frequently. I can't pinpoint like how often. I just know that it happened often enough where I was having like bruises of different colors on my body from him.
Was he playful about it, or was he like deviant about it?
It would start out as he wanted like a hug or something. Eventually I just stopped giving him hugs because it got so bad.
The older brother that's currently in prison, not Jupiter, sounds like an absolute nightmare, and like I said earlier, the buck did not stop with him. It's upsetting that the family didn't do anything about this behavior beforehand, and then proceeded to, not do anything when Jupiter was starting to show signs of being a problem. There is a lot more to this, but I don't want to play the entire video here. But there are some other parts that are also disturbing that I want to play. And this one in particular, I'm going to apologize in advance for the length of the clip. It just didn't feel right to try and chop it down for time.
We planned to go out to eat for my birthday. And Corbin lived the furthest, so Dad picked him up, brought him to the house, got me and one sister, and then we were off to get my oldest sister. The car broke down because it ran out of gas. My oldest brother came with some gas, and my dad stepped out. My sister and I that were in the car decided to idle ourselves, like entertain ourselves while we're being idle. So we started singing songs that we liked, and Corbin didn't like that, so he told us to stop or he'd hurt us. And we didn't. We told Dad, because Dad had opened the door to grab something. We're like, Dad, he's threatening us again. He's like, oh, just ignore him. He doesn't mean anything by it. He doesn't understand what he's saying. He doesn't understand what he's doing. I'm like, no, Dad. He legit will hurt us. We decided to continue with what we were doing because, that's what our dad told us to do. And Corbin grabbed the seatbelt. I was in the front seat, and he pulled it tight so I couldn't move it, strangling me basically. And so I took off my shoe and I hit him with it. And he then turned to CR and said that he was going to strangle her next. And I told him if he so much as laid a finger on her, my high heel shoe that I had in my hand was going to go into his skull.
Oh my gosh. Was that the first time he ever tried to hurt you?
No, that was the last.
What was the first time?
Corbin was playing with some books on the shelf, and I was showing my mom a song, singing my mom a song while she was in the bathroom, like kids do. Showing her a song and dance I had learned at daycare, and Corbin just comes up and punches me right in the nose.
Oh my gosh.
Blood everywhere. Of course, he gets scolded. My mom cleans us up and talks about using gentle hands. No repercussion for him, no timeout or anything. But the first time he tried to end my life, because that was not the first time he tried to end my life. I think I was like 10, 11, maybe 12. He started ramming my head into the door frame of his bedroom. And then there was a couple of times in between that time and the last time that he attempted. My mom had gone into surgery. She got her knees replaced and was in recovery for it. My task was to make sure that Corbin got into the shower because it had gotten so bad that some kids were making fun of him and making fun of me. We're having bad hygiene in school. And so Dad challenged us with the task to get Corbin to take a shower. And he refused. And he chased me down and strangled me. I think I was like 16. That would put him at 17. That was probably the first time in quite a few years that Corbin had got punished. But we had all gotten punished by my dad when he got home for it.
You were trying to get him in the shower, right? And he was retaliating. He put his hands around your neck, right?
Yeah.
And could you explain what that felt like at that time?
I kind of this is just gonna be the end. This is it.
You thought that he was finally gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what to say to that. The parents should have gotten Corbin, which is Jupiter's real name, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, some serious counseling and help before it ever got to this point. The sister goes on to detail that Corbin himself acted creepily, sexually towards her.
Were there any times where Corbin acted sexual towards you specifically. You mentioned once where you had just taken a shower and he would watch you
Yeah.
after.
Corbin was sitting at the table. I peeked out of the door and I was like, Mom, could you get Corbin to leave the kitchen for a minute? My mom's like, my mom just goes, Corbin, don't look. And she goes, okay, you're clear. So I had forgotten my clothes in my room. I had a towel, so I was covered. I ran from the bathroom to my room, and he just watched me. I came out and I'm like, Mom told you not to look. What happened to that instruction? And he goes, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. It happened again multiple times. And then there was one point in time where I'm just like, Corbin, if you don't leave the kitchen, when I get dressed, I'm going to come and do something about it.
You felt his watchful eyes, gazing upon you every time. Do you feel like looking back on that time, and that was the time he started touching you and groping you, right?
Yeah. Around, yeah.
Do you think that he was sexually attracted to you?
I just think he wanted to push and see how far and how much he could get away with.
You mentioned before that he threatened to end your life a lot.
Oh, yeah. All the time. And it would be something as simple as singing a song or humming to myself, or we'd be in the car and say I was finishing a level on a game that he wanted to play and I didn't give it to him right away, or me and my sisters didn't choose the movie he wanted to watch. It was constant. And then all my mom would be like is, Corbin, don't talk like that.
There's a lot more revealed about this household and the family, and that it generally sounds like something out of a horror movie, out of just an absolute nightmare. And like I said before, I highly encourage watching the full thing because there's a ton of stuff that I'm skipping over for the sake of brevity and, for not just clipping the entire interview into pieces. But on to Jupiter's return to the internet, for real this time.
Hey everyone. Sorry I've been gone for so long. But yeah, I did and I still do.
Jupiter uploaded a video addressing his actions, if we can call this addressing. Roll the clip.
Hey everyone. Sorry I've been gone for so long. But yeah, I did and I still do regret my actions. You guys need to back off. I'm doing okay. I just haven't had any time to post. Oh, and Anonymous, I dare you to try and hurt me. You know not where I live.
I don't know if he's talking about a troll named Anonymous or if he's talking about the actual hacker group Anonymous. If it's the latter, you really don't want to mess with them because they will ruin your life and they will find out where you live and plaster it all over the internet. Actually, in Jupiter's case, maybe he should mess with them. They might actually find something that can land him in prison if we're lucky. Actually, after rewatching another video that I'll be talking about later in this one, I realized Anonymous is actually just a troll, not the hacker group. Although it would have been funny if it was. That would have been kind of funny. But we're not in that timeline. But he goes on to explain why he's done the things he's done, and the reasons he gives is... well, it's better that I just show you.
So yeah, half the stuff that I did, what drove me to do it, was nicotine and alcohol. That shit really messed me up, really messed up who I was. It messed up the person I was. And to tell you all the truth, I may be many things, but a child predator, I am not. I was really messed up back then. I've learned my lesson.
Look, I've done and said some dumb shit while drunk before. It's called college. I'm sure there are people in the comment section that can relate to that. But I've never done anything like this while drunk. And I don't even get how you could blame nicotine for that, since nicotine doesn't affect your mind in that way. Seems like you're really trying to find something to shift the blame onto for your disgusting actions there, Corbin. It really seems like it. I know people who smoke cigarettes. I know some people who will smoke a pack in a day. They really should stop, but you know, that's their choice. I've never seen them act inappropriately around minors though. So I somehow doubt cigarettes would make you do that. And I also love how he says back then like this was years ago. Nah, dude. Nah, it ain't even been a year, let alone 6 months, man. They ain't no back then, dude, come on. But this is the typical internet predator slash locale thing where they vanish for a bit and then come back and claim they've gotten help or are getting help and that they've changed. We all know it's cap.
Stop the cap.
Now, thankfully, that's not all that happened. If that was it, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. You see, right around the time that this came out, Linda Binda uploaded another conversation with Jupiter. Why don't we take a listen? I'm sure we'll see just how much he's changed after his 3-month exile, right? I apologize in advance. The audio is pretty scuffed in this video due to how the call was recorded. I'll try to boost it so it's easier to hear though.
Talk about what's going on.
You mean online or in general?
Let's talk about what is happening in general.
I guess you could say I'm a jack of all trades.
You're a jack of all trades?
Yep, I am.
What do you mean?
Jack of all... Well, for one, I've spent half my life repairing things that have been broken, along with my best friend CJ. CJ's good with his hands, me, I'm good with my legs. But I'm also very good with my hands as well, but that's beyond the point. But anyway, what happened on social media was a total disaster. My content was never supposed to be like that. That's not what my TikTok channel was for. And suddenly I became a bad guy. I became the villain. You know, I became the freaking villain.
Yeah.
I never wanted it to do this. I never wanted to come down to it. Suddenly you make one mistake on social media and everyone brands you a child predator or a pervert or some other bullshit.
Dog, do I need to play the clips from my last video? You know what? Screw it. Todd, roll the clips.
Sir, can I still send you pictures of myself even if I'm underage? Because I'm only 13.
It's up to you, sweetie, if you want to, because I don't mind. If you do, I don't mind. Do you plan on turning me in if I say yes?
No, I would never.
I'd lower the age of consent all the way to 16 if you guys wanted me to. Or I'd even change it to 15.
Right to jail, right away.
Oh, someone's commented and said that they think that you're a pedophile.
Oh, piss off, haters. And, by the way, I only dated minors it was only for show. I wasn't actually doing it. It was only for show.
Oh.
Some people took that too far, you know? I did it just for show. I wasn't even serious with them. I just did it for show. You guys need to leave me alone and stop this crap now.
I wonder why people view him as a creeper or as a pedo. Total mystery, right?
So yeah.
So, what do you have to say to what do you think about people calling you like a child? You know the word.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All I have to say is I may be many things, but a child predator, not one of them. I understand it hurts, and I was trying so hard to keep things under wraps, but at the same time, I wasn't entirely sober at the time.
You weren't sober?
I wasn't sober. I wasn't sober. I was mostly high on nicotine or drunk half the time. But now that I'm back to just this, I can finally start living my life with ease, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through a lot of hell lately. But I do promise I will do everything in my power to make sure that that kind of stuff never happens again. And if there are any officers watching us, any police officers from the NPD, I would like to amend my statement and say that I will do 100% to make sure that none of that crap happens again.
I've never heard of someone getting high on nicotine unless a cigarette was, laced with something. But then again, you're not getting high on the nicotine, you're getting high on whatever it was laced with. Also, he holds up a vape, but don't most vapes use nicotine also? You can tell I don't vape. You can tell I don't know much about vapes. Anyway. Even if he was getting just absolutely plastered and going hard in the booze, that still doesn't excuse what he was doing, and he seemed sober to me. In the clips I showed in my previous video, like, he wasn't stuttering, he didn't have any, like, he wasn't slurring his words or anything, his eyes weren't all loopy looking, nothing like that. So I don't think he was drunk. But once again, he's not taking any accountability for his actions. Shocking, I know.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
How long do you think it'll be before he gets caught doing something like this again? Let me know in the comments section. Linda asked him about the abuse he suffered at home, and he confirms that things were a nightmare growing up.
I didn't know that you have a few siblings in jail.
Only one. My brother.
And you said that whatever your sister said was true, right?
What he did to me was true.
Do you think that's maybe, like, damaged you?
Mentally, emotionally, yeah. My family isn't perfect. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's family is perfect. Mine is broken.
If even half of what the sister said is true, your family is as far from perfect as we are from the Andromeda Galaxy. For non-space nerds out there, that's really freaking far. Hell, I think him calling his family broken is just putting it lightly.
Why do you want to return to TikTok?
Well, after everything I've been through, you should know that I'm too stubborn to give up. I'm way too stubborn. It's a quality I share with my father and all my other brothers. I share a quality with them. We're stubborn.
I bet that's not the only quality you share with them, specifically with a certain older male sibling, if you catch my drift. Linda then brings up something that really doesn't do Jupiter any favors when it comes to the allegations, let's just say that.
So, I found out a lot from Abby about how when she was 13, you were 17. When she was 14, you were 18. When you were 15, when she was 15, you were 19. There's a four-year age difference, and
I know that's her choice to walk away if she wants to.
I know, but that's not the point. You were in a relationship with someone when you were 20 years old and she was 16.
I know. After everything that I realized happened, before I realized it, things had gotten already out of hand. Before I realized it, everything I had was gone. All the people I had who loved me were gone. The people I cared about, gone. Like that.
I know. Also, she said that you, like, inappropriately touched her and you, hurt her.
Fuck that. I didn't know such thing. And she fucking knows it. I didn't know such thing.
Yeah, that is absolutely disgusting. You mean to tell me you were 20 years old and dating a 16-year-old? That's disgusting. That's sick. I'm sorry. That is sick. And even when it was 18 and 14, that's still just messed up. Just what the heck, dude? Like, I could maybe understand if it was 18 and 17 or something, like, because it's okay, that's a year. But that? Nah, dude, nah. Nah, you ain't beating them allegations. And I'm convinced the alleged groping took place also, especially since Linda is about to ask him about him physically assaulting his sister.
What about what your sister said about you, almost strangling her to death?
That was a long time ago. I was a child. I was a kid.
You were 18.
I was a child. I was 14, not 18. I was 14.
Well, she said that you tried to strangle her multiple times.
Yes, I was 14. I was a child. People need to get that through their heads. I was a fucking kid. I
Okay.
didn't know any better. I didn't have the outlets I have now. Jeez. Some people like to take that shit way too.
Even if he is telling the truth here and that he was 14 when he did this and not 18, that doesn't matter. Even by 14, you should know not to do that to your little sister. That's not the excuse you think it is, Corbin.
Here's something. Do you promise me, promise your mother, promise your father, promise everybody in the whole world that you will not ever talk to another minor?
Do what I did again.
Yes.
I promised that I wouldn't, and I'm gonna keep that.
And what's the consequence if you do talk to another minor?
I already made my choice. That was a choice I made because I wasn't sober and I wasn't in control. Now that I'm in full control, I can safely state that it will never happen again.
Okay.
Never again will I let those things happen. And I made a promise I would, and that's the end of it. I don't care what happens to me, but I only care about what happens to those around me.
If it happens, you know what?
Life on the line to defend my younger little kid.
I want to believe you. I do. But you've said this multiple times and it still happened. But I'll tell you this. If it happens again, Jupiter, I will do everything in my power to get you to take accountability for your actions.
And I am taking accountability. What I did was wrong, I realized. Sure, I made a few mistakes. I've made my fair share. I'm not perfect. I'm no saint.
He almost said he made a minor mistake here, but then he caught himself. You can't make this shit up. Linda then brings up something that completely caught me off guard when I first saw this.
Okay. So, also your sister told me that you wear diapers.
I don't. She lied about that.
When
That
did...
was a long time ago when I was a kid. I'm no longer a kid. I'm an adult. It was a long time ago. Let's just drop that because it's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about.
Okay.
That's very.
We'll drop that.
Very nefarious thing that my little sister brought that up.
Nefarious, yes.
I think he still wears diapers. He got real mad at that being brought up. There's some more funny bits here and there, but that's pretty much it as far as their conversation goes. But Linda does mention that they have a source that told them the cops in his area are saying they don't have enough to arrest him. Hopefully that changes at some point in the future. Who thinks they're a hybrid between a vampire and a werewolf? Alright, but that's where this video is going to stop for now because, well, I don't have any other news to add here. Just want to say thank you so much for the views on the Nick Bates video, and holy shit, we are getting dangerously close to that 2K milestone, which is not a sentence I expected to say at any point this year, to be brutally honest with you. Damn, I gotta figure out what I'm about to do for that. I don't have anything planned. I've just been kind of winging it here, if you can't tell. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and stuff, and if you liked it, you know, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm told that saying this in a video actually increases the odds of people doing this. I have no idea if it's true. I have no idea. But yeah, if you really do like the channel, do that, and also please consider checking out my books. They're in the description as well. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna head out.